Welcome to True North Nation. This was brought to you by Solid Rock Church in Irving, Texas, where we bring you true direction in a lost world. Now let's hear it from our host, Pastor Ed Snyder.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the True North Nation. We are so glad that you have joined us again for another great episode. And man, I am on fire. I am so excited about what is happening through the True North Nation. I don't know if you have seen our social media post on our different platforms, but we just looked at our stats, and the top 3 countries that we are being heard in is, of course, North America. We are based here in Dallas, Texas. Also Europe. And then the third one is Asia. Wow. I am so excited about that. Thank you to all of our new listeners that have joined the podcast. We deeply appreciate you joining us. Then also thank you to all of our loyal listeners that have come back from our recess, if you please, from getting into our new facility and the rebuild and all of the challenges that came with that. Thank God that's settled and it's over with. And we are settling into our new place, our new offices, and of course, the student center, the church, where we're recording our podcast and all of that. So that's exciting news. And then also, again, I don't know if you've seen the email that I sent out through our database or our social media, but it's been a long time coming. But I finally have pulled the trigger, and I have been into leadership and, of course, communication. I have been a speaker / preacher / pastor / evangelist for over 40 years. And so I finally, again, pulled the trigger and have joined the Maxwell leadership team as a certified speaker, trainer, and coach. So we are launching that segment of the tool belt that we have, doing masterminds, speaking engagements, coaching clients, teaching on the 15 invaluable laws of personal growth. That's the foundation. That's where you start. Everyone communicates, few connect, leadership gold, and a few others that we're bringing online. And of course, control the beast, emotional intelligence. So we're doing some great things. So we're excited about the movement. We're excited about you joining us. And of course, join our email list at our website, truenorthdfw.org. And sign on so that we can communicate a little bit better with you and reach you a little more efficiently, other than just happenstance on social media. So again, at your request, we are continuing our series of Control the Beast through a survey that you gave. And that is chapter 4, Mr. Beasties Game is what we're going to talk about today. So grab a piece of paper or a notepad or whatever you use for notes, grab a cup of coffee. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. And again, thank you for joining us here. I really cannot share how honored I am to have you on board. If you would leave some comments in whatever platform that you're using to listen to this podcast, or go to truenorthdfw.org and leave some comments on the show notes. We'd love to hear from you. Or again, get a free ebook, 9 Levels of Relationships and How to Handle Toxic Relationships, and get signed up for our email. So today, Mr. Beasties Game is what we're going to be talking about. For those of you that are out there with siblings, brothers and sisters, that you grew up with in your home. If you have grown up in that setting, one of the mysteries of growing up in that setting is there's always another sibling. Let me give you a little more specific. It's always the other person's fault. We raised 2 children. We have 2 beautiful children who are now adults, married and on their own. But as we were raising our daughter and our son, when something happened, I'd say, Marcus, did you do this? No, I didn't do that. It must have been Mariah. So I'll go to Mariah, and Mariah will deny it and say, no, I didn't do that. And so we had a third child in the home that was always doing those wrong things, messing something up, leaving a mess or whatever. And we never did meet that third child. We didn't attend their graduation. I don't know where, I don't know. It was just a third child in there doing all of the wrong things. And, if you've been there, comment in the section, or in the comment section below, and let me know if you had a extra child in the home that you never did find and was always at fault for the wrong things that happened. So again, it's something it's amazing. What is that? What are we talking about? What does that example prove? Well, it's Mr. Beasties Game. It's the beast in the basement that we're trying to control or learn how to manage our emotions. And what we're really going to be talking about and diving deep into today is the blame game. And that is a real situation. It's always somebody else's fault. I didn't do that. Or, whatever denial, whatever label, whatever flavor you want to wear, it's not accepting responsibility for your part. And this is a very important part, or piece, shall I say, in helping ourselves get better, helping ourselves to grow on a personal level and mature, if you please, and grow to the point that you can function more successfully, more efficiently in your life, career, family, your relationship with God, your relationship with others. So the problem with this is people need proper training to enter adulthood. Never learning to own up or to what they have done, never correcting their bad behavior is a real issue. The problem at this level is an out of control adult who never grows up to take responsibility. Now, I know that probably stings a little bit. That may hurt or pinch a little bit, but folks, we have got to face some reality that if we're always blaming the other person for what we have done. Now, again, I have said this before, and I will say it a gazillion more times. You're not responsible for accepting responsibility of other people's bad behaviors. Okay. Just what you do, what you have maybe caused, or I could have said that better, or I could have done something different. I could have said something I didn't say, or not say something I did say. Whatever the situation, the scenario, the case may be, that's what you have got to look at with a hard look. Okay. And again, the problem also spans out to this out of control person can reign terror in the home and in relationships, whether that's family relationships, work relationships, friendships, whatever ship you want to sail, that can be a problem. So let me give you a few examples of how the Mr. Beasties game works, how this blame game materializes or works around. In education, parents blame the teachers for not achieving the expected levels of learning. The teachers then blame the school system for the inadequate curriculum or substandard facilities or poor management of resources. The administration then blames the government for not providing the needed funding. The government then blames the public, which consists of the uncommitted parents who pay increased taxes. So it started with the parents blaming the teachers and wound up with the parents being blamed for not paying more taxes to improve everything. In athletics, the football team is blamed for its poor record. The quarterback blames the receiver for dropping passes or running poor routes. The offensive line for getting tagged for not blocking well enough to give the quarterback time, or the offensive coordinator for the poor play calling. The receiver then blames the quarterback for feeble passing. The offensive coordinator blames the head coach for supplying him with sorry players. The head coach then blames the personnel director for drafting too many weak players. The personnel director then blames the owner for being such a tightwad. The owner then blames the fans for not paying more for the tickets. So you see how that scenario roundhoused. In the industrial plant, the supervisors blame the slow and lousy production of a product. The workers then blame the supervisors for not setting reasonable production goals and failing to provide quality equipment or materials. The supervisors then blame the middle management for failing to provide enough funding to do the job. The upper and middle management then blame the public for wanting the least expensive product possible. The public then accuses the company of marketing an inferior product. Are you tired yet? But I think you get it. It's a vicious cycle that is a revolving door. And if somebody doesn't get it, if somebody doesn't stop and take control of the process, it's just going to keep roundhousing. It's just going to keep going in this vicious circle. Nothing resolved, nothing solved, no peace, constant turmoil, constant friction, and constant stress. So we've got to take a real hard look at this game that the beast plays with us. Here's another scenario. The children are mouthy, noisy, lazy, dirty, disrespectful. They ask for what they're coming to them, and the result is they end up in the hospital. Tiny babies did not stop whining or crying, so they made someone shake them or hit them. The baby winds up with brain damage, or worse yet, dead. It's the mother's fault. She should raise better children, be a better mother, should keep a cleaner house. She spends too much money. She smiles at the opposite sex too much, so she's flirting and deserves to get beat up. What's the common denominator in these scenarios here? What's the same in every scenario that I just gave you? Think about this. Take a moment and think, what is that common denominator? Yeah, I know the vicious cycle. We just talked about that a minute ago. But what can be pinned as the most common denominator? Conflict unresolved. That's the problem. There's a conflict, okay? There's a problem. There's a deficiency. There is something that's not working correctly. And so it produces a conflict, and the conflict is unresolved, and people keep playing games with the beast and thinking that they're going to win. In reality, no one wins. No one gains. In fact, the reality of this is everyone really loses. Okay. So how do we stop the cycle? How do we get out of this game? How do we get out of this vicious circle that just keeps going round and round and round like a hamster wheel or a merry-go-round until we get so dizzy we fall off of life? How do we stop this cycle? Well, number one, somebody or someone has to take a bold step outside the revolving door and accept responsibility. Okay. Again, let me share one more time. You don't need to take responsibility for everything that happens. You can't be responsible for the igmo screaming and hollering and cussing and carrying on and acting stupid. But you do have to take responsibility on how you respond to the igmo. Okay. Now, we've got to take responsibility for our part in what we did or did not do in the situation. So think about that. To stop the games, you have to stop the cycle. And to do that, you have to own your part of the problem. At first, this can be very uncomfortable, but it can also free you once you grasp hold of what we are talking about, and as we finish out. So let's take a break. We'll be right back. Okay. Again, if you would, please go to Amazon.com, do the search Control the Beast, Esnyder, pick you up a copy of the book as we go through each week in this series of Control the Beast. You can read the chapter in depth as we're talking about the different subjects of the chapter. I promise it'll be a blessing to you, and I will deeply appreciate the purchase of Control the Beast. Thank you, and God bless you in advance. So here's, in order to stop the game, in order to stop playing the game with the beast, one thing that we need to understand is anger is always a secondary emotion. Remember that. Take a note, write that down, put that in your note app. Anger is always a secondary emotion. There's still a primary emotion in full swing and unchecked. So what are those primary emotions? What do you mean, Pastor, about what is that? Well, loneliness, anxiety, fear, depression, insecurity, stress, and the notorious big one, frustration. Okay. Frustration is huge. And these emotions, if you don't get those primary emotions in check, fixed, resolved, the emotions will transform into anger or emotional chaos if we don't get it under control. So then eventually rage takes shape. And then, of course, God forbid, it goes into blind rage where you're going to black out and you're going to do things you wished you never did and will completely deny that you did it. It's called blind rage for a reason. Okay. Another reason that anger or negative emotions arises is that we feel our rights were infringed. Now, we all have personal rights, and anyone would agree to live inside those rights. However, we need to stop and think and realize that there will be a reaction to every action. You know, let's run a few through here in the minutes that we have. Okay, we all have a right to our personal opinions. We also have to understand that it's not necessarily what you say in your opinion, but how you say your opinion makes all the difference in the world. You can go in hot, you can go in, aggressive, and your message is not going to be received at all, or at least too well. But if you go in the right way, okay, now let's think this through. Let me make sure I got my head around this right. You feel and this and that and all of that, but I feel this, and explain it in a calm manner. I promise you, your message will be heard a lot better. Okay. So that's one thing. We have a right to our personal opinion, but again, to every reaction, there's an action. And so when we think about that and how we react to it, it's going to engage an action. Something's going to go down, either plus or minus, positive or negative. Now, we all have the right to decide who we associate with and who our friends are. Absolutely. But understand, you do have this right, but it matters who you choose. If you pick negative people, you're going to become negative. Remember, you are a product of your environment. Chapter 2 of Control the Beast. So when we realize that what is in your environment is shaping and forming who you're becoming tomorrow, a month from now, a year from now, or whatever, we have to understand that we got to be cautious in who we choose to associate with. Okay. Ensure you're not in the wrong place at the wrong time and you get sucked into a situation that you don't want or need. So remember, yes, you have the right to associate who you want to associate with, but pick good friends. Pick people that's going to add value to you. All right. You have the right to spend your money. I mean, hey, you do have that right. You earned that money. You work hard. Well, I'll tell you right now, nobody better mess with my paycheck because they'll have a situation. In fact, I had years ago, and I don't want to take a whole lot of time because we're we're getting close to our time, end of our time together. But one fella at a place I was employed at held my paycheck on payday because he wanted to ask me a rather very simple question that he could have walked down the hall to my office and asked. But instead, he messed with my money. And I was good. I was calm, but I let him know without a doubt, don't you ever mess with my check again. Pick up the phone or walk down the hall and talk to me. So again, you have that right to spend your money. You have a right because you earn it. Okay. But you got to be careful how you spend that money. If you blow it on stupid stuff, you're going to be living under a bridge with no future. That's the reaction. The action is I'm going to spend it how I want it, and you waste it. That is the thing that we have to realize. Now, when you have a right to speak your mind, hey, we have this freedom of speech, and that is very true. I kind of like that some folks that we are dealing with in the social media platforms are actually fighting for true freedom of speech. But again, some things are better just left unsaid. You speak your mind, again, action, and you can find yourself in a lawsuit or in jail, reaction. So, yeah, you have that right, but be careful what you say. And of course, we all have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Absolutely. We work hard. Just don't forget moral values and how much you decide to pursue it. Webster defines rights as something to which one has a just claim, such as the power or the privilege to which one is justly entitled. Now, here's the catch. As we wind down, in the definition that Webster just gave us, conflict always results when one attempts to fulfill their rights and tries to overcome the personal rights of somebody else. That is instant conflict. Okay. It usually spells a problem. In some people, they think, and you'll get caught up in the way of thinking. And the more you play the game with the beast, is the pattern becomes what is mine, and you can't have it. What is yours is mine, and I'm going to take it. That's the attitude. This attitude will always result in a world of chaos. There is a right where this is right where the beast wants us in the basement and wants to keep you there. So again, we got to be careful. And again, you have a right. And sometimes somebody's going to be rude and stuck on stupid and violate our rights. And you could try to talk to them. And if they don't see it, you know what the best tool that you can do? Turn around and walk away, and then make it a note in your head. Okay, be careful with that person, or don't go around them anymore. That's an easy fix. Now, we also need to take a look at two dirty words in the vocabulary: responsibility and accountability. Some people do not like to take responsibility. That's why we put this chapter in the book, and that's why we're having this podcast or this conversation today. And then also accountability. Accountability is something that a lot of people will shy away from. We don't want to be accountable. We don't want other people to know our business. You need some trusted mentors to know your business so that she can keep your business clean. Okay. And I'm sure you wondered, there for a second, accountability is defined as the quality or state of being morally, legally, and mentally accountable. We need to be aware not only of our rights, but our responsibility. And personal responsibility exists on several levels. Okay. Responsibility is a potent thing in controlling the brute in the basement or the beast, our emotions, our negativity. When we become accountable to someone, we exercise trust. Our accountability partners help us stay in the lane of life and helps us see the big picture, why we need to do what we need to do. Okay. When we mesh the right person and purpose, we can change our behavior for the good. All right. Let's look at it this way. Stephen Covey, in one of his books, said accountability breeds responsibility. Now, if I was in the room with you, I'd show you a slide. Accountability breeds responsibility, but the word responsibility is divided with a dash between responsibility. So when we are accountable to someone, we are breeding people's ability to respond to us, especially when we're in need. Okay. I want to, again, I see the time kind of slipping away here, but we've got to realize that when we are responsible, I was a case manager. Let me give you this real fast. I was a case manager for a nonprofit several years ago. And the office manager was this little African-American lady, older, much older, and just as sweet as can be. And so I was accountable to her. If she needed a report, I got it for her. I was on time. I kept my deadlines. I told her where I was going. I'm going to the city farm to teach a class. I'm going here to meet this. She knew where I was every minute of the workday. And because I was accountable, when I went to her and said, look, is there room in the budget to buy a projector? I've got PowerPoints in my classes that I'd like to show as I'm talking and teaching. And that little lady about broke her leg trying to find the money in the budget. And I got the projector without any kind of fuss because she knew I was a good employee. I was accountable to her. And therefore I breeded the ability for her to respond to my needs. Okay. Now, again, as we get down to the end of our time together, friendship is a two-way street, not a one-way road. We have the responsibility to respect that friendship. Real friends are not just people we know, but people we depend on, especially in a time of need. It's not always convenient to help a friend in need, but it is still our responsibility. And if conflict and anger are continually disrupting the friendships, you are going to become a very isolated, very lonely person. Then good luck trying to figure out how to carry that the long haul. It's a heavy, heavy load to carry when you're lonely and you realize you're there because of your own doing. So again, Ari Joseph wrote this: real friends are like diamonds. They're precious and rare. Fake friends are like the autumn leaves. They're found everywhere. And that is so very, very true. So ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate our time together. And thank you for joining us here at the True North Nation. Please share the link, what other platform you're on, or if you're on our website listening on the episode page. Please get on your social media and share this. Help us spread the good word that we are giving out and help more people in this very tough world that we live in. And again, thank you for being with me today. God bless you. And don't forget to buy the book. God bless. See you soon.
To find out more about finding that true destination, visit us at truenorthdfw.org.